Hi everyone, thanks for joining us. My name is Monday Hot and this is Chris Merrick from Ensemble Designs. We're here to talk to you today about the BrightEye NXT 410, which is a clean and quiet HDMI switch and router. Now Chris, there are a lot of HDMI switches on the market and some of them for as low as maybe $600. So tell me, why is this one worth $4,900?
Well, one detail there, Monday, is this is more than just a switch. It's actually a router that routes between fiber, SDI, and HDMI. But what makes this worth it is that it cleanly and quietly switches between those HDMI sources.
Even HDMI, that's amazing, because in our industry we've come to expect that when you're switching between HDMI sources, even if somebody says it's a clean switch, that the screen actually goes to black for a few seconds, or maybe you get lucky and you get a last good frame of video before a second or two before it switches to the next source. So how is this different?
Well, this one has frame syncs on the output and the input so that it cleanly syncs and switches between those sources. But instead of me talking about it, let's show it to them.
Oh, what a great idea. So here from the front panel, I think, I can actually use these buttons to preview my sources, correct, before I make a switch?
Right here on this little LCD is the thumbnail, or a preview, which is live motion video showing what you're about to switch to, and then as Monday switches, it switches it on the monitor. But we want to come back to that detail of clean switching. So switch back and forth between those sources, and as we see here, this video does not freeze or does not go to black as it switches back and forth between those sources.
That's amazing.
It's well worth the money to have that, and it doesn't audio pop, it doesn't do anything to the video or audio content.
Right, because it's a proper frame synchronizer with the audio delay, the compensation, everything taken care of,
exactly.
Correct? Yeah, that's amazing. Can you imagine this in a live presentation, what a difference this is going to make in your presentation that you're doing? It's amazing. Now, this is also another really interesting fact, is that this is in the new NXT packaging, and it's quite a bit different than the, our more traditional BrightEye. So can you explain some of those differences?
Yeah, so if you notice that it's a standard BrightEye can that everything's mounted in. There's a metal front bezel on the front, that there's navigation buttons for control. So if you notice, I can press that. I can change all of the controls for this BrightEye here. If I come back over to this side, now I'm in the operational mode, and as Monday was demonstrating earlier, the router was being controlled. So this front bezel and the fact that it's got an Ethernet jack on the back is significant, which allows us to web browse into the product and control the parameters, update software.
Right, but in addition to that, because this is a router, and this may be specific to the router, but it has another really interesting feature with that Ethernet jack, and what is that?
That is that you can view thumbnails of all the inputs and the outputs and how they're routed inside the router. So that allows you to control it from anywhere in the world. Any places you can get an Ethernet cable to this, you can then control it.
That's amazing. I mean, think of the implications, because you don't actually have to be in front of the router now. Anywhere from an iPad, an iPhone, any sort of an Android device, or from a web browser at a computer, even in a distant city, you're able to control the router if you have access to that web browser. So another really interesting thing I noticed here, and I think you touched on it a bit, but is this new SFP cage that we have here.
Yeah, so the 430, which is a SDI only router that we have, and the 410, which is this router, has a SFP package on the back, which allows you to input fiber into the product. So not only can you switch between HDMI sources and SDI sources, you can also switch between fiber sources as well. And you can get this in 2 inputs, 2 outputs, or an input and an output.
That's very flexible.
Very, very flexible.
So let me get this straight. We can cleanly switch between SDI, fiber, and HDMI sources. We can do it from a distance over Ethernet. And you actually have full live motion video here on the front panel, and you're actually able to browse your sources before you switch. So it's mistake proof.
Exactly. You know what you're gonna cut to before you cut to it.
Exactly. So if you're looking for a clean HDMI switch for your presentations, this is the one. Give us a call at Ensemble Designs or check out our website. We'll be happy to come demo it for you.